Do you want to wake up feeling like you're stepping into who you're meant to be, into the best possible version of you? What if I told you that the key to your best life, health, and happiness are all around you? You just have to find what works for you. I'm Hope Pedraza, and I believe that there isn't just one way to live a healthy and meaningful life, and that all you need is a little inspiration to make changes that last from the inside out. Each week, I'll be sharing tangible tips and inspirational interviews to help you on your journey. These are the steps to take to improve your life and live with purpose. This is Hopeful and Wholesome. Hey y'all, welcome back to Hopeful and Wholesome. I am solo today talking about 10 things to do to transform your health that cost little to no money. And I was inspired to do this episode because I've been seeing things around here and there of just people talking about how, it's expensive to be healthy and this and that kind of thing, which, I get it. Organic foods can be more expensive than conventional foods, and you're paying, $4 for a cucumber. It's some health foods, some, not all. Health foods can be more expensive than regular food. So, I get it. I say regular food. I meant, not so healthy food. And so I do get what people are saying. However, I also think that people often overthink what it means to be healthy and what it takes to be healthy. I think it means that we have to buy super fancy vegetables and, we have to only buy organic. You can go back and check my episode about whether or not to eat organic and what to get organic and what not to get organic. That's a good explanation if you're wondering, because you don't have to get all organic to be, quote unquote healthy. And, I think people think you have to take all these supplements and have to do all these things, and not saying any of those aren't healthy habits, but there are so many things you can do for your health that you can literally transform your health that don't cost anything or just cost like a few dollars, like some salt, which I'll talk about in a second. So I wanted to do an episode just to give you an idea of some things that you can start integrating into your own life that don't require you to spend any money at all. Just a little bit of effort and a little bit of intentionality, right, to incorporate these into your day. So I'm going to jump into these, list them, and give you a little science behind some of them, some studies around them of why they're helpful. So the first one I'm going to start with is sunlight. Getting some dang sunlight. I saw a meme the other day and I reposted it, and it was like, we're basically like plants. Like we need sunlight, and so we need water and sunlight. We're like plants with really complicated emotions, because we do need sunlight. We need sunlight. We need water, just like a plant. The sun is like the fountain of life. Like that's what gives everything life. That's what creates photosynthesis to make plants grow and to make, we would all die without the sun. So there are scientific benefits to the sun, right? It improves your sleep. It helps because it helps create a hormone called melatonin, which I know you're familiar with, which is critical to helping you sleep. But because your body starts producing it when it's dark, you usually start to feel sleepy a couple hours after the sun sets, which is one of the main reasons our bodies naturally stay up later in the summer. Research indicates that an hour of natural sunlight in the morning will help you sleep better, because it helps regulate your circadian rhythm by telling your body when to increase and when to decrease your melatonin levels. It's basically helping your body's like internal clock. So the more daylight exposure you can get, the better your body's going to be at producing melatonin. So if you happen to work like inside an office with no windows, give yourself some opportunities to get out and get some sunlight during the day, because it really does make a difference. If you're away from the sunlight all day, every day, it really does make a difference. Sunlight also helps you relieve stress. Again, it's kind of related to melatonin. Helping your body naturally regulate melatonin can help reduce your stress levels. It helps maintain strong bones, because vitamin D is really the best and easiest way to get that the sun is the best way and easiest way to get vitamin D. Our bodies produce vitamin D when we're exposed to the sunlight. And really, all you need is like 15 minutes a day, even if you're fair skinned. Like you don't have to sit out there and sunbathe. 15 minutes a day is going to get you all the vitamin D that you need. And of course, we know vitamin D helps maintain calcium. It helps with bones, and it really does help it also helps with your immune system. That's going to be my next point I wanted to mention, is vitamin D is also critical for your immune system. And so when we get consistent exposure to sunlight, it can also help strengthen your immune system, because you're getting that good natural vitamin D. Now, yes, you can supplement vitamin D, but just like anything in its natural form, nothing beats the source, right? Vitamin D is the source. That's the source. Now, research has also shown that sunlight can help fight depression, that basically sunshine boosts your body's levels of serotonin, which is like your feel good hormone. It's like your good mood hormone, right? And it can help you stay calm and focused. And so it can help things. You might have heard of seasonal affective disorder or SAD. A lot of people who live in parts of the world that they don't get a lot of sunlight, or they don't get just adequate sunlight, that can be a real thing. And it really can change people's mood. Like scientifically proven that sunlight really does help with depression and just kind of mental health in general. Now, still on sunlight here, it also helps reduce the risk of disease. There have been multiple studies that show that UV exposure could help lower blood pressure, can help protect against heart attack, against stroke, against type 2 diabetes, the risk of obesity, certain autoimmune diseases. And then this one I want to mention because I've been hearing a lot about this lately, about just like longevity, right? I've just been reading articles and seeing things about this. And there are some studies that show that getting regular sunlight, which literally can mean just 15 minutes a day, which in this particular study, they even said 10 minutes a day. This study followed around 30,000 women and revealed that those who spent more time in the sun lived 6 months to 2 years longer than those with less sun exposure. So not to say, again, you got to go out and sunbathe, but some of these ladies were just out for like little 10-minute spurts throughout the day. So you don't have to spend all day in the sun. And just getting that like 10 to 15 minutes a day in the sun gives you your entire day's worth. It can give you up to 5,000 IU of vitamin D. So it's enough to keep like normal levels in your body, right? So anyway, your sunlight is crucial for your health, and it can literally transform your body just getting out and getting in the sun. Number 2 is adding salt to your water. And I've talked about this before. You can go back and listen to my episode about salt and kind of some myths around it. But really, I'm trying not to like get in my soapbox here because I've already talked about it. You can go back and listen, but salt gets such a bad rap. And really and truly, if we think back like prehistoric times, maybe not prehistoric, but just like ancient times, salt has played a critical role in food preparation for thousands of years. Like by the time it was discovered, I was about to say invented, we don't know it wasn't invented, but that by the time it was discovered, that's our ancestors realized like that's how they need to prepare and be able to preserve food, right? And so in the past few decades, I want to say probably since the 1970s, it's been made into kind of this villain, right? Because we've associated with hypertension and heart disease, with high blood pressure and heart disease. And it's a little bit of a soapbox moment here, but just doing my own research, there's a lot of things that I discovered. And the notion that a low salt diet is better for us began around 100 years or so ago and was really founded on flawed science, because doctors knew that our bodies relied on salt to maintain blood pressure balance. Like you have to have sodium in your body. They believe that consuming too much contributed to high blood pressure and heart disease. And so the result was this huge government campaign to get people to eat less salt, kind of like back in the day when there's like the Got Milk campaign. It was paid for to sell more milk for like all these subsidies, right? It was kind of a similar thing, but there was no like research to back this up. Like they hadn't done research to back it up. It was just like some doctors are like, oh yeah, this has to be right. And nobody did any research to back it up. So that's what I mean. It's based on flawed science. This notion, it was just some doctors that said it. And it was like, oh yeah, we'll adopt that. So there have been multiple studies now that show that there is actually no link between salt intake, high blood pressure, and the risk of heart disease. And I know that's blowing your mind right now because it's not, your doctor's going to tell you the total opposite. I'm just telling you what these studies say. And I really think that it's an indication that we really do need to reexamine our beliefs around salt. And that's why I did the episode. You go back and look at it. But there was this there's 7 total studies, and they found no strong evidence that cutting salt intake reduces the risk of heart attack, strokes, or death in people with normal or high blood pressure. Literally, no strong evidence. So there is another researcher that published in the Journal of American Medical Association, I don't know why I can't say that word, or JAMA, reported that the less sodium that the study subjects excreted in their urine was actually the greater risk that they had of dying from cancer. So the less sodium they were peeing out, the greater their risk. So it's the complete opposite of what we've been told. And I explained in the other episode about how like our adrenals rely on sodium, and when we're stressed, that just kind of exacerbates that. But the evidence here is showing us the complete opposite of what we've been told for many years. And there are like salt deficiency is a real thing, and sodium deficiency in the body and symptoms of that are a real thing. And I will tell you, like I said in the other episode, I see more of my clients sodium deficient than have too much, even those who have been told that they have high blood pressure. Because like I said in that episode, high blood pressure is not about too much salt in your body. It's about salt retention. Something is making your body hold on to the salt, which it's stress. Stress makes your body hold on to the salt. Your adrenals need it. And your adrenals like, wait, I need it. So that's the problem. It's stress. It's inflammation. That's what's making your body have high blood pressure. It's not the salt. So the other piece of that is eating this plain like table salt is not the same thing as consuming sea salt, Himalayan pink sea salt, Celtic sea salt. It's not the same thing. Like you're literally eating the processed version of salt. And not to mention, they've used a ton of chemicals to strip out the sodium chloride from its like natural state, right? Like if it's the same thing with sugar, right? If you look at the sugarcane plant, there's other minerals in the sugarcane plant besides just sugar. But we use all these chemicals to strip it away to get the white sugar, that refined white sugar. It's the same thing with salt. So anyway, adding salt to your water, this is my original point. Adding salt to your water can totally change your life. So first of all, it's going to help you stay hydrated. Our body actually needs a really good balance of sodium and potassium. And when you're stressed, your adrenals are going to run through your sodium a lot quicker. And when you're able to take a good, like quality salt in your diet, like the Himalayan salt or the Celtic salt. Of course, as I mentioned all the time, I prefer the Celtic salt. It's higher in trace minerals, less chance of being inundated with any heavy metals. But because it has other trace minerals in it, it helps naturally balance your hydration levels. It has all these other micronutrients in it. Salt actually also promotes good vascular health. And strangely enough, it has a protective effect against heart disease. Now, again, it's important to differentiate between sea salt and table salt, because you're not going to see any benefits from table salt because it literally has nothing else in it to benefit you. But you can see there are studies out there that show that sea salt and those unrefined versions of salt directly contraindicate years of recommendations about low salt diets. So it really literally depends on what type of salt you're using. So when you're paying the extra like 50 cents for your chips with the sea salt, there is a reason to do that, y'all. I'm just saying. Adding salt to your water can also help balance electrolytes. So again, the hydration piece, but it's electrolytes, sodium, magnesium, potassium, calcium, you need all of those. So it's not just about drinking water. It's about rebalancing with electrolytes. And so that's adding sodium to adding salt, not sodium, adding salt to your water is going to help you because it does have those other trace minerals. Adding salt to your water also helps support a healthy nervous system. And because sodium regulates water flow throughout your body, we need this for a healthy nervous system. The water in your nervous system requires salt for electrical conduction to send and receive signals. That's how your nerves send signals to each other. It's that the salt it's literally electrolyte. It has an electrical current to it, right? It's sending electrical signals. And so our nervous system, our brain, all of that needs sodium, needs salt to do that. All right. So adding salt to your water, go back and listen to the episode. I'll give you more instructions on that. But if you just start with just some pinches of Celtic salt in your water a few times a day, you're on the right track. Now, moving on to number 3, moving your body 30 to 45 minutes a day, most days of the week. So I think we all know the benefits of exercise. It improves your brain health, helps you manage your weight, reduce the risk of diseases, helps your bones, your muscles, and just your ability to do like functional work, right? And we know that it helps with mental health. We release endorphins when we move our bodies. So it helps with a happy brain, right? It helps with stimulate those good feel-good hormones. There's so many other deeper benefits, right? There's studies here that I want to mention here. So talking about mood, since I mentioned that one first, there's a study where participants were asked to complete both a non-stressful task and a stressful task. Those who exercised at least once a week had better moods following the stressful task than the non-exercisers. I thought that was so fascinating. Just doing this one task, they were less stressed doing it because they moved their body. Exercise and moving your body also helps with healthier lymphatic system. This is part of your body's immune system. And so your lymph, it doesn't have a pump like your heart. Your lymph only moves when you do. So whereas your heart has, its muscles and stuff are pumping the blood in and out of the heart, your lymph doesn't. So we have to move our body for our lymph to move. And when our lymph becomes stagnant and it doesn't move, is when stuff starts to build up, right? Toxins start to build up, and our white blood cells kind of start to fizzle out, right? We need good lymph fluid to help fight diseases, to help our immune system, to help release toxins, get rid of toxins. Exercise, just moving your body is how to do that. And of course, I think we all know healthier bones, right? Especially weight-bearing activity is best for healthier bones. So moving your body, doing some weight-bearing activities a couple days a week can help build stronger bones, increase your bone mass. It's going to decrease your risk of injury as you get older, helps with stability, all the things we need as we age. And then brain health, just not even just like a happier brain, but your brain health in general. It can help you. There's studies that show how it can increase your electrical activity in the brain. Like you're literally improving how your brain is the nerves are talking to each other in your brain. Now, how much exercise, right? And at the beginning, I said 30 to 45 minutes. The experts, and I say the experts because it's like the CDC, right? And the CDC and the World Health Organization pretty much say the same thing, that it should be at least 150 to 300 minutes per week of moderate intensity exercise, 75 to 150 of vigorous, meaning like you're getting your heart rate up, or a combination of that, right? And that adults should do at least 2 days a week of muscle strengthening activity. So that's like weight bearing activity, resistance training, weight training, that kind of thing. So that's what you're looking at, which typically means around 30 to 45 minutes a day, right? 150 to 300 minutes per week. So you want to move your body. You want to get your heart rate up at least, once or twice a week, and then do some weight training. And all of that can be a combination of things, right? There were multiple studies that I found when I was reading about longevity. Like I mentioned before, I've just been reading so many things about longevity, that there are multiple studies that show that the sweet spot for longevity lies at about 7,000 to 8,000 steps a day, or about 30 to 45 minutes of exercise a day. So that's why I say 30 to 45 minutes, like the blue zones. You've heard of the blue zones, which I want to talk more about that in another episode, but these are the populations that live the longest. That's where they are, for 30 to 45 minutes a day of exercise. And it doesn't have to be intense exercise. Like the people in those places, like literally they're just like walking, they're not doing like CrossFit for 30, 45 minutes a day every day. They're just walking. So they're 7 to 8,000 steps a day, or 30 to 45 minutes. That's what you're looking at. All right, let's move on to the next one, meditation. And, I could talk all day about meditation because I just love it. Benefits include improvements of stress, anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, pain, insomnia, your sleep issues, PTSD, your weight, your eating behaviors, ADD, your mental health. There's so many things that there's so many studies that you could look at to show all the things that meditation helps with. There was an 8-week study that I saw that said that when this group performed a mindfulness meditation, reduced the inflammation response caused by stress just by doing this mindfulness meditation. And the research has also shown that it can improve symptoms of stress-related conditions like IBS, PTSD, fibromyalgia, all these things, literally everything that's caused by stress, right? So the other piece of this is that it does help our mental health. And there was another study of 153 adults who use they use quotes like mindfulness meditation, and they actually just use an app, this specific study, for 2 weeks, and they experienced reduced feelings of loneliness and increased social contact compared with the control group. So it helps us create communities within ourselves as well. Meditation, I can go on and on about this, but not only that, I love that it also helps you tune into yourself. And I think we'll talk about that in a second. And another thing another way, because I have 10. But meditation is really such a good way to tune into yourself and just kind of tune into your inner voice. Moving on to the next, we have get out in nature. Just get outside. There's so many benefits of getting outside. You can improve your short-term memory. There's actually studies that prove you can improve your short-term memory and your working memory just by getting outside, like being out in nature, just looking at trees or grass, not even kidding. Reducing inflammation, boost your immune system, less stress. There are multiple studies that show that this is an actual benefit of being outside in nature, less stress. Studies show that people who spend more time outdoors have better moods, expanded thinking, and they can find more meaning in life and more purpose than those who stay indoors more often. Literally just get outside and look at some trees. Improve sleep, accelerated recovery from surgery or illness. There are lots of studies about this. And if you've ever been to like hospitals with long-term care facilities, they always have like beautiful courtyards. And that's why, to help people go outside and like use that as a part of their recovery so they can be outside and see trees and flowers and, all of that, rather than just staring at a wall and being inside and, artificial lighting. Improve relationships, higher self-esteem. Like there's so many benefits of being outside. It doesn't cost a thing to go sit outside. Even better, two birds with one stone, go take a walk, a 30 to 45-minute walk outside. Then you're knocking out two of these all at once. Oh, here's another one. Even better, going for a walk, doing a walking meditation outside in nature. You just did three birds with one stone. So I'm telling you, none of this costs a thing. All right, moving on to the next one. Get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. I don't know if I really know harp on this one, so I'm not. I feel like we know we need that much sleep. It's just a matter of us doing it. And you can go back and listen to, I have a couple episodes about sleep. Go back and listen to those if you need some more tips on sleep. But basically, research is showing that sleeping less than 7 hours a night on a regular basis is associated with adverse health outcomes, which means things like weight gain, obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, depression, all of those things, your chances of an increased risk of death, all of those increase when we get less than 7 hours of sleep. And 7 to 9 is a sweet spot, because when you get more than 9 hours, your risks of things go up by getting more than that. So there is a good sweet spot there. 7 to 9 hours of sleep, just get at least 7, it'll change your life. Moving on to the next one. Now, this one is interesting because it's kind of specific, but I wanted to put it in here because I think it's important, because I think blood sugar regulation is more important than people think. But the tip here is eating a balance of macronutrients, so that's carbs and protein and fat, and eating your food in the right order. And I say that because blood sugar is huge. An imbalanced, unstable, dysfunctional blood sugar is the cause of so many things. It increases your risk of so many things, especially as women. Things like PCOS strongly linked to blood sugar dysregulation. So being able to manage your blood sugar and keep it balanced is so crucial. And when I say eat your foods in the right order, this helps keep a stable blood sugar. So here is the right order for you. Veggies first, protein and fat second, and starches and sugars last. Okay? Now, the fiber in the veggies are going to coat your intestines, kind of prepare you for whatever else you're eating. The fat and the protein are going to slow down your stomach emptying or gastric emptying, right? And it's going to mean a smaller glucose spike, and it's going to keep you fuller for longer. So less spike in your blood sugar. It's going to help with your hormones and your skin and your cells and reduce inflammation and all of these things. And then putting the starches and sugar last, that is the key to a smaller blood sugar spike, is eating the starches and sugar last, because you filled your stomach with the veggies and the fat and the protein, and let that kind of prep your body, let that start to break down, and then put in the starches and sugar after that. So, which is why like eating dessert after a meal is such a different thing than just eating like a random chocolate bar in the middle of the day. I'm not even kidding. You ate the same chocolate bar after you've eaten a full meal, the impact to your glucose level, to your blood sugar level, is going to be drastically different. If you don't believe me, go follow Glucose Goddess. She's got an amazing book. I'm not like affiliated with her at all, but she is amazing. She's a scientist, and her Instagram page will blow your mind. So Yeah, eat your food in the right order and get a good balance of macronutrients. All right, moving on to the next one is this number 8? Is practice gratitude. Gratitude is this one is so simple. And here's the other thing. I think, like I said earlier, that we overcomplicate things. And I think we think things like I'm talking about gratitude and sleep and like getting outside and looking at trees. Like we think, well, there's no way. We think there's no way these little things are going to make a difference in our health. There's no way. And it does. It does. It 100% does. And the studies are proving it. And the people who live the longest in these blue zones are proving it. They're proving it. And gratitude is so simple. It's so simple. There was a study out of Harvard, and there's a lot of research on like other research on this specific study. But it showed that feeling thankful, gratitude, grateful, can improve your sleep, your mood, and immunity. It can decrease depression, anxiety, difficulties with chronic pain, your risk of disease. So gratitude can literally change your health. And it can be as simple as when you wake up in the morning, you just think of 5 things you're grateful for. When you go to bed at night, you think of 5 things. It could be maybe you have a gratitude journal. Maybe you get a journal and you keep track of things. And you could have the worst day ever. And when you finish your day with gratitude, with this gratitude practice, it can completely change how you're going to spend the next 7-8 hours of sleep, how you experience the next day, how your cells perform at night. I'm not even kidding. It will change you at a cellular level. Gratitude is so simple and it can change your life. It will change your health. It really can. Number 9, reduce stress. Now, I feel like I could just say that and that would be enough because we all know the effects of stress, and literally pretty much, 90% of doctors' visits are stress related. Like it's something they're going in for something that has been linked to stress, which means that really only 10% of what we deal with is related to our, genetics or our bodies, right? It's stress and it's the way we perceive it. So stress shortens your lifespan. It increases your risk of disease. It increases your rate of aging. Like there's chronic diseases are rooted in stress. Stress to the body, stress to the mind, it's stress, right? So when we say reduce stress, and that's pretty general and broad statement, everything I've just listed here, right? Practicing gratitude, getting outside, going for a walk. Maybe it's breath work. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's reading a book, listening to jazz music. I know for me, when I'm cooking, a lot of times I love to turn on Frank Sinatra. And I don't even know if I was a Frank Sinatra fan before I met my husband, but that's what we listen to in the kitchen. And it's amazing. And it instantly puts me in a better mood if I'm feeling stressed or like on edge or whatever. It could be meditating. Like all of these are ways to reduce stress. Finding your trigger is going to be important. And I know the trigger for a lot of us is work, right? And I know not everybody can just quit their job. And so that's not like a practical way to get rid of it. Like, oh, just quit your job. But if we can pinpoint the trigger and we can have these coping strategies, I guess is the way I want to say that, ways to deal with it, or if it's a person, then we can manage it. And yeah, we're going to get stressed because we're humans. We're human, but we have all of these different modalities to help us limit how long we stay in that stressed state. And that's the key, not allowing ourselves to stay in that chronic state of stress. Reducing stress will change your life. And this last one will change your life too. I left it as at the end because I don't want to say it's the most important, but I feel it's like the deepest. It's the deepest one. And it's finding your purpose. And I know I talk about this a lot, and that's, kind of the premise of the show. And I ask all my guests, what you can do to live with purpose. But it really literally can change your health. And there was a Harvard study. Harvard likes to do all these cool studies, right? This Harvard study that showed that if you feel like you have a higher sense of purpose in life, that you're more likely to remain healthy and physically strong as you get older. So I'll say that again. If you feel like you have a higher sense of purpose in your life, and this is like you feel like you have meaning, you have like a direction, you have goals, you're more likely to stay healthy and physically strong as you get older. And I thought that was so profound. And there's some other studies too that link like a higher sense of purpose to things like reduced risk of disability and stroke and heart disease and sleep issue and other health problems. But I think it's so fascinating to see that there's a connection to your health and your physical strength to your sense of purpose. Like, how crazy is that? And there's some other researchers in the Journal of American Medicine that were talking about this study. Were saying how they really feel like this stronger sense of well-being is associated with a decreased expression of pro-inflammatory genes. And so I think we've talked a little before, not a whole lot, to get some deeper chats in here about epigenetics. Maddie, if you go look at Maddie's episode, Maddie Lansdowne, it was a while back, last summer, I think. He talked a lot about epigenetics, but basically it's how our genes express themselves. And so these researchers are saying that when you have this stronger sense of well-being, that your genes literally change how they're expressed. And so you have a decreased expression of pro-inflammatory genes when you feel this stronger sense of purpose. This lowers levels of inflammation, related to lower risk of chronic disease, right? So that's how it works. It also, having this sense of purpose, or this stronger sense of purpose, is linked to lower levels of stress hormones like cortisol, right? As well as proteins like cytokines and just things that promote inflammation in the body. So it's interesting here to see how having a purpose, having a passion, a sense of direction, it literally impacts every part of you. Your mental health, your physical health, like your strength. It says strength as you get older. I just thought that was really fascinating to see that correlation there. And there's some other studies where they've like followed groups of people for decades, and the people who kind of like lost their meaning or their purpose in life there was more incidence of depression, chronic disease, obesity, developing new diseases. And the people who had the stronger sense of purpose, or like had the most meaning in life, had lower risk for all of those things. They had stronger personal relationships, they had better mental health, and they had more money. Like, what? I just thought that was so fascinating. So the point is that your purpose, it doesn't cost you a thing to figure out your purpose. It doesn't cost you a thing. And your purpose is so linked to your overall well-being. If you don't know what your purpose is, I would ask you to tune into yourself. Meditation, again, like I said before, meditation is a good way to do this, to kind of tune inward and kind of listen and think about what you love to do the most. The thing that you do that brings you the most joy, the thing that you do that lights you up, that really brings you like joy and exuberance and excitement. Maybe it's what you're good at. Maybe it's not what you're good at. Sometimes we love things that we're not great at, and doesn't mean it's not your purpose. I think like looking at skills and things that you're good at can be helpful, but I think the most important thing is to know and realize what lights you up and what excites you, and think about like what you want your life's legacy to be. And this doesn't have to be like anything outrageous. I think sometimes too, we overcomplicate this part, just like we overcomplicate our health. We overcomplicate this part, thinking like we have to come up with this huge like legacy, and we put so much pressure on ourselves. And it's not about that. It's just, what's the legacy you want to leave behind with whether you have kids or you have a spouse or partner or family or your friends or the people in your community. Like what's the legacy you want to leave behind? And then using whatever form of like self-reflection works for you, which I really think meditation is the best way to do it, to tune into that piece. And I think also important to bring up that your purpose can change with time, and that's okay. Like you don't have to have the same purpose at age, 17 as you do at 45. Like there's nothing wrong with your purpose changing. You don't have to say I have the same purpose at 44 and 45. Like your purpose can change. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you know your human design, then you know how well you stick with things or not. But anyway, I leave you with that as the last one is number 10 is finding your purpose. And go back and take notes on these because literally none of these cost a thing. Maybe it'll cost you a little bit to buy some better salt. All the other ones here were free. You don't have to pay for anything. So back to my original point, we overcomplicate our health sometimes. And again, I'm not saying that there aren't supplements that are helpful, of course. Like I use supplements with all of my clients, but it's not only about the supplements, which is why their protocol is never just supplements. There's a lot more to it than that. We're talking about all these things that I just talked to you about. So you can transform your health without paying a dime. And that's the moral of the story. You don't have to be rich to be healthy. You don't have to pay a lot of money to be healthy. You don't have to spend anything to transform your health. So even if you still eat crap for the rest of your life, but you implement these 10 things, I promise you your life will change. And when you implement these 10 things, your body's going to start to change and you're not going to want to put crap in your body the rest of your life. That's what happens. You start implementing a few little changes and then more changes start to happen. So let me know what you think about this. Which one's your favorite? Which ones you like the best? And I'll see y'all next time.
Thanks for listening to Hopeful and Wholesome, y'all. If you found value in this week's episode, please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave a review to let me know what you thought. I'd love to know what you find useful in these episodes so I can know how to provide the most value I can to my listeners. And if you have topics you'd like to know more about, I'd love to hear those as well. So shoot me a message on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. It's @TheHopePedraza, or you can visit my website, hopefulandwholesome.com. Thanks, y'all.